to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to be taking a look at a puzzle. Actually, it's not a brand new puzzle this, but it's been consistently recommended to us over the last few months. It's called X marks all the black dots, and it's by twototenth. Now, twototenth has certainly appeared on the channel before, always with fantastic puzzles. Now, the testing reports on this one, when we ran it through our testers, interesting. It's got 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters Germany, and one of the testers says, yes, that's absolutely right. And the other tester that we ran it through said, no, this is really difficult. So I don't know. You'll have to judge it from the length of the video. What did I want to do to start today? We had a lovely email overnight from Esther. Esther is a creative writing, I think she's a teacher. And she wrote to us about her experience of Sudoku since she started to watch the channel. I thought I'd just share some of this with you because it really rang a bell with me. So these are Esther's words. For me, Sudokus have changed over the course of this year. A Sudoku is no longer just a 9x9 grid with some digits. Every Sudoku you've posted is a new story to me. Some stories are about tension between regions in the grid, where certain digits seem to be at war with one another. Other stories are about strong alliances between cages, lines, or thermometers, or even love stories about faraway cells that somehow find ways to communicate with one another. And as I am solving the puzzle, the story develops further and further, until, in the end, everything is in order. Everything is how it's supposed to be, and they live happily ever after. I really think all of us need stories where everything is falling into place, especially in these times where nothing seems to be like it is supposed to be. And I thought those words were really cool. So Esther, thank you for sending them to us, and I hope you all agree. And I love the idea of the digits playing out stories. That's exactly how I think about them. Do I have any other news? Oh, lots of you have been asking when we are next going to stream Bubba Is You. Now, we are planning on streaming Bubba Is You, but as you will know if you've been watching Mark's videos, he is under the weather at the moment. He's suffering from a bad sore throat and quite a lot of coughing fits. It's not COVID, but we are going to wait a few days until his voice recovers. So we hope maybe Tuesday night, but please don't hold us to that in case health gets in the way. And the only other thing to mention is, of course, Patreon. Please do join us over there. It's the best Sudoku club on earth, I promise you. And we've got some wonderful extra content at the moment, and we have some incredible extra content coming up. Mark and I have been testing an amazing Sudoku hunt, well, Sudoku and puzzle hunt, which it's just extraordinary, and we're hoping we might be able to give that to you as a Christmas gift. Right, and with all that said and done, let's get on with the rules of this one from 2totenth. The rules are really short. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits separated by a black dot must have a ratio of 1 to 2. Digits separated by an X must add to 10. All black dots and X's are given, so there is a negative constraint in this puzzle. So what that means is that, let me try and think of an example. Let's say this square was a 2. Now this square simply cannot be an 8, because if it was an 8, there should be an X between these cells. Similarly, actually, because there's no black dot, this couldn't be a 1 and it couldn't be a 4 either. So if we manage to place a 2 in the white spaces in this grid, we know it will be quite useful. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Let's tell the story of Saturday together. Now, where shall we start? I know where I'm going to start. I'm going to start by writing a digit, no less. There you go. That is a 5. You may well wonder how I know that. Well, it's very simple, actually. Let's think about the nature of an X domino in this puzzle. Well, an X domino adds up to 10. And in this box, there are 4 such X dominoes. Now, I can never put a 5 on an X domino because the other digit will have to be a 5 as well. So that won't work. So I think that cell has to be a 5. And that makes me wonder, actually, about 7s and 9s in this box. Because, of course, there are, well, there are 3 digits you can never put on a black dot because of the ratio constraint. One of those digits we've already dealt with, it's a 5. The other 2 digits are 7 and 9. Now, if you can't put 7 or 9 on the black dots in box 6, you're going to have to put them in those cells, which will mean we have to put, because wherever the 7 goes, it's always on an X, so it's always reflecting a 3 onto a black dot, and the 9 is always going to reflect a 1 onto a black dot. So these black dots, actually we know what they are. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And that's because we now know that there is a 1 and a 3 on these black dots. Well, we know that you can't put 1 and 3 on the same black dot, because that's not going to work. 1 and 3 are not in a ratio of 1 to 2 with each other. So one of these black dots has a 1 on it, and that means it must also have a 2 on it, and one of them has a 3 on it, which must also have a 6 on it, because you can't put 1.5 on it. So actually those cells are determined, and these cells are the other digits, which are 4, 7, 8 and 9. That's actually extremely clever. Not of me, I hasten to add, but of 2/10. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean we can do something with... Does that mean we can do something with this black dot? Or this X? Yeah, okay, this black dot is better, isn't it? This black dot cannot now be a 1-2 black dot, because that's going to force this square to be a Schrödinger cell and simultaneously have to be 1 and 2. Similarly, it can't be a 3-6 black dot, because that does the same thing, just a different form of Schrödinger cell. So this would be simultaneously a dog being alive and dead rather than a cat. Now, that means that this black dot is either 2-4 or 4-8. So it definitely has a 4 on it, which is useless. But maybe that does something with the X's. Yeah, so now there's a 6 in one of these 2 squares, because whichever one of these is the 4 has to have a 6 next to it. So that's not a 6, which means that's not a 3. Now, can I do better with this? No, I don't think I can actually. I'm just trying to work out... Oh, I can actually. I can do some... now this is weird, right? I'm wondering all of a sudden if this is a colouring problem, which isn't that surprising in sort of XV Sudoku. It can often become a colouring problem. XV Sudoku typically is a low-high colouring problem. Whereas I'm wondering now if this is an odd-even colouring problem, because look at this domino here. There's a funny thing that you'll find if you do a lot of XV Sudoku, which is the nature of an X domino is always has the same parity both cells, because if you add up to 10 with using a 2, you always have to partner it with an 8. Obviously, you're going to an even digit. So, look at this in the context of this black dot down here. This black dot has a 4 on it. Now, if this was 2-8, which would be the other form of even digit we could make that wasn't 4-6, you can't now make this work. Both of those squares would be a 4. So this is not an even version of a domino adding up to 10. It's an odd version, and I don't need any excuse. I'm going to colour that just in case that's going to matter. Right, and that means this square is also orange, and that's because whether this is 1-9 or 3-7, that digit, the 1 or the 3, is being pushed into this square in box 6, so that is not a 2, which means this is not a 1, which means this, here we go, this square's even. Right, which means this square's even, because I've now got an even on the next. Oh, this is really lovely. Whoops. So that's a 4 or an 8. these are both even, self-evidentially. That's 5 is definitely odd. This is an odd square on an X, so that is an odd digit. Look, that's got to be 7 or a 9. That's odd. These are even, and they're on X's, so those are even as well. Ah, yeah. Now I've got 4 evens in box 9. How many even digits are there in any box of a Sudoku? Well, the digits 1 to 9 only have 2, 4, 6 and 8, so the rest of this box is orange. 2 oranges on black dots have to be 1s and 3s. That's the only way you can form. We've already been looking at this with 5, 7s and 9s in this box. You can't put them on black dots. So this is 1, 3. So these are 2, 6. They are therefore even. Yes, okay, now we're going to come back to this X again. This is really clever. So now this cannot be 2, 8 or 4, 6. So that's an odd version of an X domino. And that one's on a black dot, so that's got to be a 1 or a 3, which means this is now even again, and that blue becomes a blue square, which means that's a blue square because that's on an X, so that's an 8 or a 4. So I've now got a 4, 8 pair in this column. Now, so that means that square is not 4 or 8 by Sudoku, so that becomes odd. This becomes odd by virtue of its X-ness, its X-iness, should we call it. This puzzle has lots of X-iness so far. That's not a 1 or a 3, so this is a 2 or a 6. That's even. That must be even now, so that's a 4 or an 8. I've got all my evens now. Oh, look, in fact, better. Look, I've got a 2, 6 pair. So that pair down there is a 4, 8 pair, which means that pair is a 2, 6 pair. This is now odd because it's the last digit in its column, and we've got all the 4 evens already placed. And 5 in box 9 is in one of these 2 cells. This square must be a 7 or a 9. Oh, yeah, okay. And now I've only just noticed I've got 5 odd digits in column 7, so that must be even. That's on an X, so that must be even. This is a 2 or a 6 because we've got the 4, 8 in the column. This is a 4, 8, which we could have seen anyway because of the 2, 6 in this column. And for our next trick, we will note that this X domino is not an odd one because it can't have a 7 or a 9 in it. So that is even. I've now got all evens in this column. We know that's a 4 or an 8. This is a 2 or a 6. These become oddities. That's a 7 or a 9. Oh God, I had a bad moment there. For some reason, my brain flicked this black dot to this cell, and I was like, how can that be next to a 5? No, it's not next to a 5, thank goodness. I've not used the negative constraint yet, have I, either? So we've got to keep an eye on that. Now, this is on a black dot, and it is odd. So that's a 1 or a 3, so this is a 2 or a 6, and it's even. This is on a black dot, attaching to a 2 or a 6. So, that could be a 1. Could be a 3, it could be a 4. How can we get rid of... I want to get rid of the 4 from there. I feel like this 4 doesn't belong next to a 2, 6. Every other time we've seen a 1, 3, it's been next to a 2, 6. Don't see how to do that. Obviously, if this is a 4, I would know how to do that, but I don't know whether this is a 4, because that could be a 4. If that's a 4, that's a 6, that's a 2, that's a 6, that's a 4. Oh dear. Okay, so now I'm getting stuck. Not surprising. We've actually got off to quite a good start, so I'm not terribly surprised. Right, hang on. Let's carry on though. 2, 6 there. That deals with both even ways of making 10. Can't use 2, 8 or 4, 6 in this domino, so that becomes an odd domino. Now you can't put 1s and 3s into these cells, because there will definitely be a 1 or a 3 in this domino, and there's a 1 or a 3 here. So there's sort of a virtual 1-3 pair in row 8. Do we know anything about this funny 2x2 situation? We know that whatever, we know those two digits are the same, because whatever this is, if this was a 3, that would be a 7, and that would be a 7. Although obviously that won't work, because we can't put 7s on black dots. So maybe... is this really restricted or not? I don't actually think it is very much. The fact of the matter is you can put any digit on a black dot other than 5, 7 or 9. So these two cells have 6 different options. I'm not sure. There might be a way of doing that, but I'm not immediately keen on notating cells with 6 different options. So, what do we do now? Oh, 2, 6 here, 2, 6 here. So I've got to put 2 and 6 up here. Is that doable? 2 and 6. Maybe it's... and now I'm starting to worry that I've missed some sort of implication of the negative constraint. But 2 and 6 absolutely can go next to each other. So that seems... I don't think there's a problem with having a 2-6 domino up here. 2 and 6 don't add up to 10, so they don't need an X between them. And indeed, there are all sorts of 2X dominoes throughout the puzzle, so that would suggest that we don't need a negative constraint for that reason as well. What about this? These squares have got to be 5, 7 or 9 because of the 1-3 pair. This square has got to be a 5, 7 or a 9, because there must be a 1 or a 3 on this X, and that will go with this 1, 3 to eliminate it from this square. I've got a 1-3 pair here, so these two are both 5, 7s and 9s as well. What is it we're missing? Suddenly things have got very, very difficult. I've got a black dot here and a black dot here. Oh, I know what it's going to be. I know what it's going to be. Hang on a minute. Let me just think about that for a second. Is that a sensible thing to be considering? What I'm wondering is whether I need to be colouring things even further in this puzzle. So I thought it was an odd-even puzzle, and it still might be to a large extent. But I'm actually wondering whether I need to keep track. For example, whatever version of X this is, so let's say this was 2, 8. We know this was 6. So we know this is also a 2, 8. So these are, this is it. Yeah, okay, this is simple once you actually have the right thought. Right, so whatever this is the same as this by colouring. And that's really profound, because now this, let's use a different colour, because we know whatever this is not. That's self-evidently obvious. And once this is not this, this must be the same as this. Somewhat ineloquently expressed, but I think you get the point. And once that joins to this 4, 8 via an X, and this is the same, you can see these two digits have to be the same. Now look. Now I've got to put those digits, these 2 digits, down here somewhere. Well, I could try and hide one in this square, but one of them will be on this X. And the moment one of them is on the X, the other must be on the X. So immediately we could do this. So this is... well, we don't know the order, but we do know these are even. Now, we also therefore know that that square is even, and it's the purple variety of even. And this square, well, if they're both 6s, that could be a 3, and that could be a 1. And that wouldn't actually break the puzzle, I don't think. So I don't think I know what this is. But I might be wrong about that, but I can't immediately... It doesn't feel like... Oh, I know something easier that I can see. Look, that's 4 evens in row 6, so that's not even anymore, which means it is odd, which means that's a 1-3 pair. I've got... Yeah, I can odd these ones in. These have got to be 5s, 7s, or 9s because of the 1-3 pair. Oh, right, and I can use the negative constraint, because how could this ever be a green 4-8? It can't be, because then it would be attached to its friend, and it would need to have X-iness, and it's got no X-iness, so that's got to be blue and green. That's a 4 or an 8. This square is now odd, and it's a 7 or a 9. Because it's not a 5 because of this 5, which means the 5 in this box is in one of 2 places, which means that is not a 5. Okay, right, what does that mean? Can I carry on colouring? I can. That's got to be green now because it's not purple. Therefore, that connects to that, and that must be green. These two have just become purple as a result of that logic. That's got to be green. That's got to be green. We could have seen that before. Ah, that's a problem. Because this is definitely isolated. Ooh, no, I think the way you disambiguate this is by disambiguating this, which requires me to know... Well, if that was a 2 or a 6, we would be able to do it. That would be green, but this could be a 4 or an 8, presumably. Okay. Okay, sorry. Let me try and think about this a bit harder then. Can we... I'm not sure. It's possible. I need to do more colouring, actually. I'm wondering if I need to also colour the 7s and the 9s and the 1s and the 3s, which is going to make this a very chromatically dense grid. Let me just think about this for a second. Is that going to work? I might be able to do it without introducing 2 new colours, because what I could say is that... Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Where a 2-6 is definitely related to a 1-3 by virtue of the black dot, I could retain the colouring. So that could be a purple version of 1-3. And could, because of this black dot, obviously this purple is sort of lending its purpleness to the equivalent odd number via the black dot, which would mean that would be purple and these would be green. Let's see if that goes anywhere. It might not. No, it really might not. I can't actually see what it's doing at all. Well, okay. That same logic then. This 2-6, which is green, must attach to the green version of the 1-3, which means that now has become, that's purple simply by virtue of the black dot. So this is just definitional colouring at the moment. It's not clever colour. It is clever colouring. It is clever colouring, because how can either of those squares now be a purple 7 or a 9? They can't be. I've not put purple 7 and 9 in this box yet. They can't go there because there's no X joining them up to this square. So that must be purple. Which means by Sudoku that is purple. So there is a green 7 or a 9 in one of those and a 5. Okay, but that's really interesting. This, I think, is useful. Now, I can carry on the colouring up here. Look, that is going to be a purple, which means that is a purple. Which means, what does that mean? It means that I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure I know what that means. Oh, come on. I can't see. I can't see what it means. Come on, Simon. There are probably cells in this puzzle that are seeing. I want to disambiguate this. So how can I disambiguate these? Do I have to do that via this? That's definitely purple. But I don't have a clue how we know whether it's the 2.6 or the 4.8 version of purple. If I could get this all sort of bottomed out, it would really, I think, take the solve forward. This is not an easy puzzle, is it? Am I doing this the wrong way? I don't think. I mean, this sort of felt fairly sensible, but it's definitely not easy. Maybe we can do Sudoku. I don't really like the look of Sudoku over here in terms of these squares, because there's nothing really to get a grip on. We don't have anything in these columns that's going to really help us out. What about these black dots then? Is there something we can see about these? This one? I don't think so. This one? This one's this square's... Oh, that's it. Right. Yeah, this square is not even. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's hard to see. That's hard to see. Why is this not even? Well, it sees both versions of 2 and 6, and it sees both versions of 4 and 8 by colouring. That square is odd. Therefore, and it's on the black dot, so it's a 1 or a 3. Now we can colour it because it's green, because it's not purple. Which means that, well, we know this square is now an even, and we know it's a green even as a result of the fact that this is a green odd. So, no, it still doesn't tell me. What is it then? What have I got to put in here that's going to give this trouble? Come on, Simon. Use your brain. I've got a 1, 3, 2, 6 quadruple in this column. So 2 or... Oh, I see. I can put the purple 2, 6 in. Yes, and it's actually on a black dot. Look at that. By Sudoku now, of all things. These 2 6s, look in here. So that has to be a 2 or a 6, and it's the purple version. And that's on a black dot. Which means that this square here has to be 1, 3, or 4 again. So does this see all 4 even digits? It certainly sees 3 of them. How can we rule out purple 4, 8 from here? The answer is... Well, yes, the answer is clear. This is a purple even domino. So one of those is a purple 4, 8. I may not know which one, but one of them is. So that rules that out. That becomes odd. That's joined to purple, so it's a purple version of itself. Now, Sudoku, boom, boom, that must be a 1 or a 3. Purple. Oh, that's really clever, actually. That's really clever, because now this domino must be a green version of an odd domino. So that gets greened. Unfortunately, I don't think we know which way round it goes, but we'll put in all the options. So now What does that mean? Yes, this is brilliant, this puzzle. Good grief. Now, where does purple odd 7 or 9 go? Well, it's not there because there should be an X joining it to its friend. So it must go here. Purple, orange. So now I've got, oh yes, now I've got all the odd digits, and the only one that can be a 5 has got to be that one. So that's become a 5 out of nowhere. That's become a 5 out of nowhere. Here we go. This is green, so that must be a purple 7 or 9. Oh, this is so lovely. It really is stunning, this, because now I'm not coming at this from over here, which is where I thought I was going to be coming at it. I'm coming at it from the negative constraint here. This square now must be green, because if it was purple, there would be an X joining the domino. So that's green, that's purple, that's green, that is green, which is good, because otherwise it would connect to a purple and need an X. Okay. And has this broken the puzzle open for us? What's that square? That's even. It's an even green 4 or 8. Now, okay, that's good. Now, no, I was about to do something with purple 1-3s and this green 1-3. Now, purple and green 1-3s you can't use to deduct numbers from green 1-3s. Not at least until we know what the purple 1-3s are. Okay, now the worrying thing, I'm just thinking about this, is, although I've just seen I can get this, we have, but by the time I've put this in, we've almost used all the clues other than this cell, which is a bit terrifying. You can see this is obviously a purple 1-3, so this must be a green domino. But we don't, to my knowledge anyway, know the order of this. Do we know? Yes, this 2-6 is telling us that's green, which means that must be green and these must be purple. Okay. Now, now what? Oh dear. Can we do something with... Wow, I don't even know where to look here. What do we need in those 3 squares? I suppose that's probably a sensible question. Do we know... I still haven't put 5 in this box, I've just noticed. So I've got to put green 7 or 9 in. Now that cannot go there, or there would be an X. So green 7 or 9 is in one of 2 places. Don't like... Oh, no, I was about to say, what about purple 7 or 9? But I've already got purple 7 or 9. This colouring is getting confusing. What about... Yes. Oh, you see, if I focus on the right thing, I can do it. What about purple 4-8 in this box? Not in those 2 squares, because it would attach to a purple 2-6 and need an X. So that is purple 4-8. Which means one of these is purple 4-8. Okay, so we're left with green 7-9 and 5. So these squares are from 5, 7 and 9. And one of them is definitely the green 7 or 9. But because this green, this is its equivalent here and it's hidden away, we can't use the negative constraint, I don't think, to tell us which way round that goes. I could do it if I could disambiguate that one. Can I do that somehow? Do I know anything about these? I don't think I do. Does the absence of a black dot here matter for some reason? I don't think so, because this is green and this is purple, and so I'd expect an absence. And if this was a 1 or a 3, that could still be a 6 or a 2 and escape black dottage. Okay, right, now I'm getting very badly stuck. So, where on earth do we look now? Where on earth do we look now? Let's have a look. I really haven't got a clue. There's maybe it's... Is there some way I can get another odd digit or an even digit somewhere that will allow me to make more progress? Let's have a think. If I knew what that was, it might be useful. But again, I don't see how I can know what that is. As far as I can tell, and I might be wrong in saying this, every single black dot option is on the table there. Okay, so what about... Yeah, okay, I can do some Sudoku. Green, that's got to be the 1, 3, which is green. Now the 7, 9 is there. So it's in one of those two. The green 7 or a 9 is in one of those two, so it won't be near this, so that's not surprising. And that will be the 4th odd digit in row 7. Maybe I can do something with, what about purple 4 and 8? So purple 4 and 8 are not in those squares by Sudoku, so purple 4 and 8 is in one of these two squares. Don't think we know which. What about green 4 or 8? That's it. Wow, wow. Where does green 4 and 8 go in box 8? Can't go here. Can't go here by Sudoku. Now, can it go there? No, because it would be next to its friend and need an X. So I think it hides away right at the bottom of the grid. Which it probably does something helpful, but I'm not immediately seeing what it is. So, yeah, it does. 1, 2, 3, 4 even digits in this column, so the rest of this column turns itself odd. One, 2, 3, 4. So this is an odd and an even digit. And the even digit, oh yeah, is the purple 4, 8. Okay, golly gosh. So, what can we do with this now? We can go 7 or the 9. Is that somehow... Yes. No, it could go here. Oh no, it can't. Yes, that's where we should be looking. This square is a purple 7 or 9. Which... So now 5 in this row is locked into one of two places. Good grief. This is really difficult. Okay. So what are the options for this square then? Let's have a look at this column. We have both 1s and 3s. We have a purple 7 or a 9. So we need a green 7 or a 9, which could be here, and as far as I can see, it could be here as well. So I don't know how we know. So what we do know is that this square is a 5 set. Oh, it's not. Oh, that's it. Now we can use Sudoku. So that's now a 7 or a 9. It's not purple. Sorry, I should have seen that immediately. Now, what does that mean? So that means this square has to be a 5 by Sudoku because both 7s and 9s are seen. So does that one. 5, 5, whoops, 5. All of those go in. Now that square now must be green because we've already got purple in that box and in the row, no less. This square is not 5 anymore, so that should be green. That's lovely. Okay, so now that square is, well, we know it's green, but we now know it's not 7 or a 9. So we know that one is the 7 or the 9. The 1, 3, the 1, 3, there is a green. Well, it gives me a little bit. There's a green 1, 3 in one of those. There's a green 1, 3 in one of those. Now we need to put a green 1, 3 in column 3. It's now in this domino, and in fact it's exactly there. Another digit goes in. Hard 1 is how I would describe these digits. Now 5, look, has to be in one of those two squares, which is maybe interesting. Oh, 5 by Sudoku is in exactly that square, so that's lovely. So now, oh, I see, and we don't quite finish the 5s off. We've got this sort of little X-wing that we've got to finish off that up there. Now, what about that digit? That must be even. And it's purple. So that is a purple 4 or 8. And that's the final purple digit. So this must be a 1 or a 3. And that's an orange. And it is purple as well, because this is green. And so far, we're slowly, very slowly, making our way through this puzzle. Now, yes, lovely. All of the odds are done. These are all even. Oh, fantastic. So this is an even digit. 2, 4, 6, or 8. Now, do I know its nature? What sort of colour are you? Does it have to be purple? I don't think it does have to be purple. No, in fact it's no. Well, I'm going to say it's not purple, because if it's purple, there should be an X joining these. And I can only see a black dot. I don't know if I'm allowed to assume that. Or maybe it's forced by the mathematics, I suppose. Yeah, whatever this is. So if this was a 2, this can never be an 8. If this is a 4, this can never be a 6, because it is on a black dot. Yeah, okay. If that's a 6, this can't be even. And if that's an... Oh, that's true, actually. If that's a 6, yeah, that's true as well. If these are 6s, you can never make this square work. It would have to be a 3, but we know it's even now. So those are not 6. And that's not a 6 either, for the same reason. So this is all 2s, 4s, and 8s. But also, the absence of X-iness between this domino and this domino tells me, I think, that this is a green cell. But I still don't know whether it's... In fact, I know it's got a weird parity compared to everything else. Everything else is either 2, 6 or 4, 8. This one seems to have ambiguity. But that's in a black dot relationship with that. Oh, but that's fine. That could be 2, that could be 4. Oh yeah, they sort of... Ooh. Okay. What they can't be, I suppose... What they can't be is a 2-8 pair. So there is definitely a 4 in this domino. Because again, if they were a 2-8 pair, there would be an X, and they wouldn't be in a black dot relationship. But the 4 doesn't do anything. Same is true there. That must have a 4 in one of these two squares. Okay. So that's... Oh, I tell you what, sorry, I've missed something here. That is a green 2, 6, so that is a green 4, 8. I don't know, I think I just put a corner pencil mark in there I didn't want to put in. So that's a 4 or an 8. Oh, it doesn't do anything again. Bobbins, look. Well, if this is 4 or 8, you can still put 2, 4 or 8 on the black dot and it still works. I don't believe it. Well, that's purple. I suppose that is something I do know. That is definitely purple. Because I've got both green evens in the row. So that's a purple even. But it could be 2, 6. Not 2, 6. Well, it could be the purple 2, 6 or the purple 4, 8. And both of those would allow this cell to have a value. This is mad. It's mad. And maddening. What about... Okay, where do we look now? How do we make more progress here? We shall, what should we do? I've got no idea. I can't be that far away from finishing this, surely. I've got to put green 2-6 in here, which I don't think is affected by the negative constraint. I've got to put, oh, I know something that's interesting. I've got to put purple 1-3 and purple 1-3 and purple 7-9. Now we must obey the negative constraint here, so I can't put them together in a domino, so they must flank something. So that's interesting. Yes, it is interesting because that's also purple. So that tells me this one is the purple 1-3. This one is the purple 7-9. And this is an even cell, which is a 2-6 green. That tells me... I'm going to have to hurry up. I'm being summoned. Right. It's not like I'm going deliberately slowly, I promise. Okay, come on. Don't get distracted. I may just have to pause for a second or two. Let me just see if I can see anything else clever quickly. Yes, I can. I can see where to place purple in this box. Purple 1-3, I should say. That's the purple 1-3. Which might matter. What about green 7 or 9 in this box, which can't go next to the 1-3? So, this is good. Yeah, this is good. In fact, it's very good given this digit as well. Yes, it can't go next to its friend or the negative constraint is broken. It goes there. So that's 7-9 orange-green. That tells us this square now is not 7-9. This square is 7-9. That tells us this square is green, orange, 7-9. That tells us that this square by Sudoku, there are 4 orange-green 1-3s. The sentences I get to say on this channel are increasingly bonkers. That's become... So now this square's known. I just have to work out what it is. It's even... And it's an even 4 purple, blue 4-8. Of course it is. Now that means that square all of a sudden has become a 2-6 purple, which means that square all of a sudden is not a 2-6 purple. So that's become a 4-8 purple, which means that's on an X. So this has become the 2-6 purple again. And now that's got to be a 4-8 purple. And that's all working. Look, that's not surprising. It's all working. But I feel like I might be able to finish the colouring in this column. I've got all the odd digits, so I've got 2 more even digits to place. So we can immediately blue them and then try and work out what's going on. So this is a green 4-8. Just eliminating the options along the row. So that square has got to be a 2-6 green. And this is where we scan along the row and find we've already got one. No, we don't, thank goodness. We've got all odd digits up here, so these are both even. And we've got, so this has got to be purple 2-6, which means this square has got to be green 4-8. How am I going to disambiguate this grid as well? That's the other thing. I think I'm going to get all the colouring sorted out, but then somehow we're going to actually have to do the puzzle. What have I not put in here? I've not put an even digit in here. Where is the green 2-6? It's got to go there. Okay, so that's 2-6. It's definitely not 5, therefore. So let's get rid of that 5. Place the 5 in the last place it can go. Place the 5 there. 5s are both orange. This square here is not 5, and it is odd. That's for sure. It's definitely odd. It's definitely not green, so it must be purple, and it's not a 1, 3, so that's a 7 or a 9, and we'll just flick across there and flick down here. There we go. We have coloured the grid. Nearly anyway. Let's just colour that one in as well. Now, in the course of doing that, I have no clue how that was meant to... What? Is it something to do with this again? I mean, this is the only part of the grid where I really struggled to understand what was going on. How are we meant to disambiguate this? Is it... Let me just think about it. It must be the negative constraint somehow. So the negative constraint, there's going to be 2 cells in this puzzle at least, where the negative constraint, because the negative constraint doesn't, well, because it applies in the sense that there's not going to be an X or a black dot more likely between 2 cells, we can see something that must be true which wouldn't otherwise be true. So, is it here? This is the question, I think. And the answer is... no. The answer is no, I'm afraid. The answer is no. No. Well, yes, the answer is no. But now the answer is nearly. This is really clever. Wow, wow, wow. 2/10. This is such a clever puzzle. And how is this average difficulty? I mean, admittedly, I've probably made loads of Sudoku scanning errors, but it's quite difficult to scan with all these colours in, at least for me. Look at this square. And look how it impacts this square. Now, if this was a 2, this is a 4 or an 8. So there would if it's a 4, there has to be a black dot here. There isn't one. If it's an 8, they add up to 10. And there would have to be an X, and there isn't one. That is so clever. So this is not a 2. And if it's not a 2, it must be a 6. And now we know that the blue purple is 6. Can I double click? Oh. I thought the colour... I thought I might be able to double click. I can't. So I'm going to have to do this manually. So let's find all of the purple 2 6s. We should be able to fill them all in. And now we know that the green 2 6 is obviously a 2. So we can fill all those in. And this is going to obviously finish the puzzle, I think. Because we can do things like note that this is on a black dot. So now we know that's a 1. So that tells us that green orange is a 1. Green orange, let's find all of those, which tells us that purple is a 3. All of these can go in the grid. Probably missing some of these as I do it. Now, that's a 7 now by the virtue of maths, so purple is 7. Purple, 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 purple. So that becomes 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, and 9. What did we say that one was? That's a 3. I could have done that before, therefore that's a 1. That's a 2. What about... So that's got to be a 4, so that's a 4 as well. Purples are 4s. Just flick these all around the grid. That one as well. That becomes an 8, 8, 8. Imagine if I've got this wrong and I have to unwind it. I'm going to cry. And that should be a 7 by Sudoku. And that is how to solve a very, very beautiful puzzle. There is so much to admire in that. It's about, there's just an absolute galaxy of amazing logic. Ridiculous. 2/10. Take a bow. Loved it. Sorry, it took me a while to solve it, so it's quite a long video. But I mean, I hope you all tried that. I hope you got some of the pleasure I did from it. Spectacular. Thanks for watching. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.